fear through Killarney. Now I'm back, hitching with the wind. But if Mickey Flynn should ever find me, I'll throw me caution all behind me and square off on that son of a bitch again. He cracked open a river too, he beat me Sunday through and through, danced a jig over my unconscious frame. I won me healthy sheriff fights, well lucky son still had me life since Mickey Flynn beat me dumb and lame.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Backyard Beers and Football. I am your host, co-host Coast Shane, and I am joined as always by my host, co-host Coast Rob. Rob, how are you?
I am doing fantastic. Eagles football, just a few days away. I am so pumped for the season start. So pumped for Sunday, for week one, to beat up on the Redskins and make Wendell Smallwood eat his words. Oh man, this is a wonderful time of year. I love this time of year when football season is getting started. Just so much excitement in the air.
Yeah, man, I was so looking forward to not needing to be this excited for football, and the Phillies really did me in. They really did me in. But I am tired today. I am tired, and I will tell you why. Quick side tangent story. I have a habit of accidentally calling the police.
What the?
I know.
We need to hear the story. Everybody needs to hear the story.
So, last week I was making homemade pasta with Stephanie, and I was cooking for my mom. She came to visit, right? And so here I am, covered in like flour and dough as I'm making the pasta dough, and I thought I was hitting the volume button on my iPhone. I was mistaken. I was hitting the other side, the power button, multiple times, and apparently if you do that, it's a distress call. It's like a bat signal for humans to call the police.
That's actually not a very smart tactic.
It is fucked. So, I accidentally called the police and then panicked as I'm on like voiceover mode that I don't know how to get out of because I'm a fucking technological idiot. So I'm trying to turn it off, and all I'm doing is calling the cops more and more and more and hanging up and calling them again and hanging up and calling them again. Finally, they call me and I pick up. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, I don't know how to work an iPhone. I'm a nearly 30-year-old man who should not have this device. And they were like, happens all the time, sir. Have a great day. With so much just disdain for what had occurred.
So what was Stephanie's reaction to this whole thing?
So they're laughing their ass off. This isn't the funny part. The funny part is last night, when we decided we were going to record this morning at 9, so I work out every morning at like 5:30, 6 o'clock, whatever the hell time it is.
Some unhuman hour.
It's not great. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not going to get to take my nap after I work out. So I'm going to go to sleep a little early. So it was like, I don't know, 11 o'clock, 11:30, something like that. In my sleep, I must have rolled over and done the same fucking thing. And 2:30 in the morning, I'm hearing screaming in my phone. Screaming from the dispatcher, asking if I'm okay. They're not hearing anything. They're going to send a car. Now, this, mind you, I think it was about 2:30 when I finally realized this is happening. So they call and I try explaining. Would you believe that I get the same fucking dispatcher?
You're a mess, dude.
I don't even know how that's possible. Like, I don't know if they just sit at home and wait for this shit, but they called, and I'm like, I'm sorry, in my like tired stupor of I don't understand what's going on. And they're like, this is the second time that you've done this? We're going to send a car. And I'm like, you don't need to do that. I'm tired. I'm sorry. I rolled on my phone awkwardly, and apparently that's a distress call for humans. And I called the police. So at 2:30 in the morning, me and my dog sat on my front porch just waiting for a cop car that never fucking came. Never came.
You played them, so they played you.
I was so pissed off. So I got to workouts this morning, and I was less than pleased. But I have worked out hard, and that has given me enough energy to get through these two segments. But I am quite tired, and I'm on the spectrum right now.
You need to not have a phone.
I need to not have a phone. It's true. I should not run ANYP. I'm a fucking mess. But we are getting into Philadelphia Eagles football season, and I could not be happier. So rosters were brought down to the first version of the 53-man. We know this is going to change throughout the entire year. Surprising cuts, there were a handful. Not really very many surprising names who made it. I think that you could make the argument for most of the players on that list that did, with the exception of the center who's blanking in my name right now. But why don't you give me one of your surprise cuts?
Well, it's a pretty obvious one. Wendell Smallwood. I think that's the name at the top of everybody's list in terms of surprise cuts, especially after how much the coaching staff kind of leaned on him in certain situations over the past couple of years, and they really showed a lot of loyalty to him over some other running backs. I'm not really surprised that Josh Adams didn't make the cut. I am surprised that Wendell Smallwood didn't make it because the coaching staff seemingly was in love with the guy for a number of reasons, some of them beyond us. And now he's a Washington Redskin, and he's out there predicting that they're going to whoop our ass on Sunday, which is not going to happen. It's hilarious. We're going to beat them so badly that it's going to look real bad for him.
Yeah, way to attempt as a third, fourth, and fifth running back in Washington to make the fans love you over there immediately.
What fans?
Hilarious.
They play in front of half-empty stadiums.
That's true. That is true. So I took two just in case. I knew you were going to go with, or I assumed you were going to go with Wendell, which was also mine, and it was just more so I'm just so fucking glad that he's gone, which is a shame because he didn't really do anything terrible, didn't really do anything great. He was serviceable enough in terms of a rotational back.
He did what he was asked to do.
But man, he was just not sexy, and I'm glad that he is gone. So my other surprise cut, and I kind of alluded to it earlier, and I alluded to it because his replacement is a guy who I have no fucking idea who he is. He's some center that starts with an N, I think, which is really killing my credibility on this show right now. But Wiz, I got to be honest, I'm surprised for a couple reasons. One, we have tackle depth on that line between Dillard and what we assume Mailata may turn himself into, and then you also have Big V. Well, Big V also learned how to come in and play the interior portions of the line in efforts to, make him more versatile and more overall valuable in terms of doesn't really matter who goes down on that line. He's going to be the first person to come out with the exception of the center. And I'm blanking on his name right now. Backup center, not Kelsey. But Wiz was that was really disappointing to see that he just could not grasp the concept of snapping a football. I am stuttering so much right now. It is absurd. I have no idea what the fuck is going on with me this morning.
It's a lack of sleep.
I think it's
calling the cops too much, man.
It's because the cops never showed, and I'm concerned that someone's going to come at my house now and beat me to death, and then I'm going to be sitting here having to actually call the cops, and they're going to be like, Psh, we know this guy, and never show up. Unbelievable. All right, so now that I've stuttered my way through my surprise cut, my surprise person
you're looking, the name is Nate Herbig?
Yes.
There you go. I had some trouble with that one as well.
I'm pretty sure he's an undrafted whatever.
Yeah, he is undrafted.
Yeah, so he's just, well, again, whatever. Hope to God we
have
not
a very memorable name, so I certainly don't blame you for not remembering it.
Thank you. But credit to anyone who's listened to the first 9 minutes of this or however long we've gone so far. This has been a mess on my end. But my kind of surprise player to make it, I'm not totally surprised, but in terms of the way his camp was kind of going, Josh Sweat. I know he was just, 2 years removed from being a fourth-round pick. I love Josh Sweat, and I genuinely believe that he's going to be a very, very good D-end if he can ever remain healthy. But he has not shown the ability to stay healthy, and he really hasn't flashed in camp in the ways that you would need, or preseason in the ways that you need. He has a couple nice, bull rushes there, a couple nice quick moves on the outside, or swim moves to get in. He's athletic. He is a freak, but he's just not putting it together yet. So I'm surprised that they went as deep as they did at the position, and I thought that he could have potentially been a cut. I'm glad that he's here, and I do think that given the opportunity and health, maybe we'll see, the Josh Sweat that we believed we drafted. What do you got on Josh?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm kind of surprised that he made the cut. Personally, I haven't seen enough growth from him. I know that he's been injured. I know that he hasn't really had a chance to go out there and shine, but when he has been out there, I haven't seen enough improvement over the years from him. So that's why I'm kind of... I'm not going to say I'm disappointed. I think that he is good enough to be on a 53-man roster, but I'm kind of shocked that he made this one, especially with as much talent as the Eagles have. So
it is a position of weakness, and there's a lot of uncertainty there. Behind Barnett, behind Brandon Graham. What? We got what on the
little
outside?
bit thin.
You know, it's
Little bit thin.
everything there is kind of a question mark. You know, I like Deshaun Hall, and I think that he's, you know, now that he's healthy and he's a former third-round pick, so he intrigues me, and he was certainly the star of preseason. So
I do think about Josh Sweat, though, if the Eagles end up making any moves during the regular season, that he might be one of the first guys off the 53-man roster.
Yeah, I could see that. I could actually see him being traded more so than just outright, you know, released and being done.
Well, one way or the other.
Yeah, I would say for sure. I know that there is, so I'm blanking on the name again, but there is an additional defensive back in there that I'm pretty sure is only going to be here for a week or two, and I think we can go back to Orlando Scandrick as a depth corner. I think they said week 2 is the soonest we can get him back on roster. But yeah, in terms of the finalization of this initial 53-man roster, not a whole hell of a lot of surprises here. Certainly as local guys for us, it does kind of suck to see Josh Adams go, going to a familiar face over there in Joe Douglas in New York. He'll have a really good running backs room ahead of him, and a really interesting stoned out type of coach over there in Gase. But nothing but the best for him. I hope he does well. I hope that he learns what vision is on the field, and I hope he can stay healthy because he is a talented kid. All around the league, there was different news that broke, different trades, different releases, things of the sort. Let's start with the Shady McCoy thing. So I don't know about you. I muted all of Twitter. I damn near deleted the app when he was released because I knew the fuckery that was about to occur on Eagles Twitter, and it happened. The amount of polls, we were guilty of one of them, so whoever placed that poll, was it you?
I didn't touch it.
Solid. So it wasn't us, so it obviously was the Kelly Greenhour bunch of bastards.
Yeah, probably L.
Probably L. Would you entertain the idea of bringing back Shady? This was one of those moments where you have to kind of remove the nostalgia of what that is and the reconnection of bringing back Deshaun and then bringing back LaShawn as well. It wasn't needed unless you were flipping Jordan Howard, which I don't think they were going to do. It just didn't make any sense, and he's on the downside of his career. To me, it just, I'm so glad that he is not in Midnight Green again.
Yeah, you got to remember that, especially as a running back, 5 years later, he's not going to be what he once was. He's not going to be the great LaShawn McCoy that brought everybody to their feet here in Philadelphia. I mean, he's on the wrong side of 30 now. He spent a couple years running behind a pretty porous offensive line in Buffalo, which means that it means that he had to do a lot of work, which probably brought down his numbers a little bit. But B, it means that he took a lot of hits. So he dealt with a lot up there in Buffalo, and like I said, wrong side of 30, not the guy that he was during his first stint with the Eagles. No, hard pass for me.
Yeah, man, me too. And look, nothing against Shady, nothing against what he did here. It was unfucking believable that we shipped him out for Kiko Alonso, who forgot how to be a linebacker for one single year, only went to Miami, and then became a fucking great linebacker again. Then again, was just
then he bitched
granted
out
his trade, which everyone in Miami should be granted a trade at this point. Fuck him. But he goes to the Chiefs. He's reuniting with Andy Reid, which I think was something that we all kind of saw coming. Steve, on his Chiefs Talk show here at AMYP, had predicted that Carlos Hyde was going to be a Texan by the end of the year. 5 days later, it happened, and then Shady McCoy goes over there. So Steve knows his roster quite well.
Yeah.
But how do you think he's gonna work over there? They have a fairly deep and versatile running backs room over there, so I don't think he's going to be asked to do too much. But he's still a sexy name in the NFL, and he's still a tool that Andy Reid is very, very used to and accustomed to using.
You know what? I could see this season for him going the same way that Adrian Peterson's season for the Redskins did last year. He starts off real hot, kind of seems like he's coming back to life a little bit, and then I think towards the end of the season he gets a little bit worn down, and he kind of goes back to being the former star that he is right now. Yeah. But even so, later in the season in the playoffs, he's going to be used effectively by Andy Reid, a guy who obviously knows his abilities, knows his strengths and weaknesses, and knows how and when to use them properly. So that'll help him out a lot.
Yeah, I The one thing I will say is the fact that Andy Reid has never really overly utilized running backs to the point where they're going to be exhausted. Like, he's not going to get 30 touches a night. He might not get 15 touches a night at this point, with how much offensive weapons they have at their disposal. But he's certainly an interesting piece, and I think that it adds a veteran kind of been there know-how to that running backs room that is very young. So I'm excited for Shady over there. I'm excited for Andy Reid. I think the Chiefs are, well, to put it in perspective, 48 hours ago, the Chiefs were third or fourth in the power rankings in terms of all the NFL. They get LaShawn McCoy, and they jump the Patriots, and they are now number 1. So apparently, people in football world and rankings believe that was kind of the difference that they needed. There was an additional back that could do a multitude of different things on a football field. So good for McCoy, good for Reed, good for the Chiefs. We'll see you all in the Super Bowl. But two other running back situations. Melvin Gordon didn't go until like the 9th round of our fantasy draft or something?
Something like that, yeah. Nobody wanted him.
It was absurd. That's a really awful type of thing. You sit there and you look at Le'Veon Bell last year. You look at Melvin Gordon this year and Zeke Elliott this year. Like, these guys know their worth. They know the physical toll that the game takes on their bodies versus what it may take on a quarterback's body or other position players on the field. These guys understand what they bring to these games, and even though the NFL is kind of phasing away from those bell cow backs and those, like I said, 30-plus touch-a-night guys, there are still a few out there that can do it. There's still the Gurleys. There's still the Le'Veon Bells. There is still the Zeke Elliott's. And Melvin Gordon, while he's not in that upper echelon there, that top tier, he's certainly right below it, and he's an integral part of that offense out there. Do you think they bite? They currently have a suitor right now. If it were me, personally, I would find a way to pay him what he needs in order to stay there, at least through the duration of Rivers. But first of all, do you think that their leaked one suitor is real, or do you think that people are not buying this right now?
I don't think people are buying it, just because teams do that all the time. They put rumors out there just to increase a guy's value, increase his trade value, either that or do something to kind of woo him to stay. I don't know. I don't really know what to really think about this. It's a Le'Veon Bell situation all over again. I could see Melvin Gordon, if he doesn't get traded or if he doesn't get his contract, sitting out the whole season. I legitimately could see him do that, but I don't think that it would benefit him. I don't want to say it benefited Le'Veon Bell last year. He
certainly didn't.
He did save a year of wear and tear on his body, but Melvin Gordon's not the same level of elite running back that Le'Veon Bell is. Melvin Gordon, honestly, I think he's just a middle of the pack running back. I think he's a little bit overhyped, to be completely honest with you. So he's not going to be able to go out there and hold out for a season and then get a big payday and big offers coming in from other teams around the league after this. So I think it will behoove him to take whatever money the Chargers are offering and go play.
I don't think he's as underrated or as overrated as you do. I think he's a very, very good back. So for me, I'd pay him. But that same side, you're right. We saw what Le'Veon thought he was going to get, and then what he really got from New York. And it's a shame for talented players like that to not receive the contracts that they truly believe they're worth. And players like Le'Veon are certainly worth more than what his contract is. And I think that Melvin Gordon understands that that's a situation that could be very real for him in the near future as well.
Yeah, well, I certainly understand where he's coming from, and I understand where Zeke is coming from too, because the shelf life for NFL running backs is not very long.
Yeah, you got to get your money.
Even the best running backs, they only stay in the prime of their career for 3 to 4 years tops. It's very rare that you see an Adrian Peterson or like a Barry Sanders type or LaDainian Tomlinson who sticks around as an elite running back for close to a decade.
Yeah.
It's very rare that you see that. So most of these guys, they're only at the top of their game for 3-4 years at the most, and they got to make their money while they can. So I completely understand where they're coming from in terms of these holdouts.
So while on that and the Zeke topic, Zeke it's finalized today. He becomes the highest paid running back. He's accepting a 6-year deal worth $90 million, including $50 million guaranteed. So he was in Cabo for the entire offseason and everything.
Yeah, he was living it up, man.
So he supposedly will be at practice today, and there's I'm assuming he will play even if he's on limited snap count. By week 1 here.
Honestly, if I'm the Cowboys, I don't even play him. They're playing the Giants. They can beat the Giants without Zeke.
You'd think, but who knows? Because Cooper's coming back from injury too. Dak's still a garbage quarterback. They may need a little more. They are, again, it is the Jets. The Giants. The Giants are a fucking joke too. But if you're Jerry Jones, like what kind of fucking arrogance do you have? Like, first of all, him coming out there, he's so smug all the time. So, they sit there and they have that conversation after the second preseason game or something, the media with him, and he responds by going, Zeke who? And you're like, the fuck? Don't say shit like that. You're going to piss this kid off.
Only probably the second best running back in the NFL right now.
He's probably the best running back in the NFL.
I'd put Saquon ahead of him.
Saquon is filthy, but I would still go Zeke. But yeah, so sitting there, and you make that comment, and then it comes out that Zeke nor his agent are particularly happy about that, and then he sits there and addresses that the following week and doubles down on his quote-unquote joke by winking at the camera and telling everyone that he's earned that right to sit there and basically disrespect your superstar player. Go fuck yourself, man. If I'm Zeke, I mean, granted, you have to sign that contract. That's a really lucrative contract for a running back. But I mean, $1 less than that, I may have been like, I think I'm going to stay in Cabo, you rich white prick. Like, that guy is so fucking arrogant. As long as Jerry Jones is there, that team is, first of all, now they can't fucking pay anyone. Like, Dak can't get a contract.
Yeah, they're going to be cap strapped for years.
The fuck, Goff signs that ridiculous contract right there, too? What the hell are they going to pay Dak if Jerry Jones thinks that Dak is the second coming of fucking Jesus Christ? Un-goddamn believable.
My God, man. That team they're a mess. It's a beautiful thing to see how much of a mess they are.
For a rich guy, he didn't know shit about money. My God. How dumb.
Well,
anyway.
He knows about money. He doesn't know how to spend it with his football team.
Clearly fucking not.
I mean, I hope he lives forever, man. I hope he lives forever. I hope he lives to be like 500 years old and owns the Cowboys the whole time, because they will not go past the divisional round in the playoffs during his entire tenure there.
Man, I hope so too. All right, so, this is not sexy. Hang on a second here. There we go. All right, so now that we've rambled about almost nothing, and if you've listened to us so far, we're getting to your favorite part now, or one of your two favorite parts. So thanks for bearing with us as we ranted and raved about nothing at 9 a.m. here on a Wednesday. But we're going to jump into our Lane Johnson's Groundhog advice column. So
I love this part.
Yeah, well, it's all of our listeners' favorite parts. We enjoy it as well. The content this week is, taking a step back. I'll be honest. So I read these. Rob does not.
So we got to take a step forward to make it an entertaining little bit here.
That's exactly correct. So we're going to elevate your words, and we're going to take them to a different level for you. All right, so the Lane Johnson's Groundhog advice column, for those of you who are first time listening right now, is in relation to a Lane Johnson WIP midday interview where he addressed the best and worst parts of his summer, and he had basically said that he was pissed off that a groundhog was terrorizing his backyard, and he was searching for advice. So we took that and made that into the title of a bit here, where you guys can then reach out to us, request our advice, and we supply you with such. So the very first one. Yo guys, also I typically print these out and make the font huge, and I have it on my phone today, so that's fucked. We'll see how this rolls.
Don't call the cops.
Yeah, do not call the cops. Yo guys, it's the bird season opener. I need your most creative bit of advice to date. I am scheduled to work this Sunday, and I need the absolute hands down perfect excuse to call out. I'm looking for believable, solid alibi of a lie. When you come up with a story, I'm counting on you both to collaborate or to corroborate the alibi. Get this man out of work. All right. Rob, you want to start?
I mean, I usually just go the very basic, I'm not feeling well route. That usually is enough for me to get out of work.
Well, for fuck's sake, that's not elevating a
I know it's not, which is why I'm going to try to come up with something else here.
All right. So we're going to sit here and we're going to brainstorm this together. So you need. I really wish that he told us what he did, because that would have been good. All right. So advice to get out of work on Sunday. Personally, if this is a job and not a career, something that is easily replaceable, I would, the night before, spray paint an Eagles logo on the driveway or the lawn of your boss's front yard. Maybe spotlights out there. Maybe rent a couple Eagles cheerleaders and wake them up at 3:30 in the morning with the Eagles drumline.
Maybe ask that guy who has that Eagles bus if you can borrow it and park it in front of his driveway so he can't get it in.
There you go. You could rent the guy who wears the shoulder pads and freaks out even on preseason games. I can't remember the guy's name.
Sean Young.
He's had his name.
I'm friends with him on Facebook.
So solid. So you could rent him and have him walk into your work for you on Sunday morning prior to, well, he wouldn't be able to do it on Sunday morning.
Nah,
so Saturday, you'd have to go to your boss's house with him and say, I'm sorry. This man is going to stab you with his shoulder pads if you do not let me go to the goddamn Eagles game with him or watch at home. I think that those are some quality things to the point. My issue here is the fact that I'm thinking of this as if this is your job and not your career. And like, jobs are replaceable and jobs don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. And we fully support you leaving a job to watch the Eagles football every single week. So if you have to get 17 different jobs, so be it. But if you have a career, things get a little difficult, a little different. So we may,
a little bit dicey there.
We may revisit this one as we go through here in the Groundhog Advice column. For the second one, looking for some fantasy advice. I have Carson Wentz against Washington, or I have Kyler Murray against the Lions. Ordinarily, I would go Carson, no doubt. But I think Kyler is a beast, and your English is brilliant. I think Kyler is a beast and could honestly be better in terms of fantasy value than that of what Carson Wentz would be. What is the play?
Well, this is just my superstition here. If I ever have a choice, I always go with the guy who's not playing for the Eagles, because I know that if I go with the guy who is playing for the Eagles, he's going to underperform. He may even get hurt. I go Kyler Murray. The Lions defense is not very good. Kyler Murray he's a rookie quarterback, so yes, he's inexperienced, but at the same time, teams haven't seen him. Teams haven't figured him out yet. You remember how Carson Wentz kind of came out firing away in 2016, those first 3 games, and teams hadn't seen him yet. I think you could see the same thing from Kyler Murray, and he's a guy who can beat you in a number of different ways. He can beat you with his arm, he can beat you with his legs. And once again, like I said, Lions defense, not very good. I'm going Kyler Murray.
Ordinarily, I would tell you, definitely go Carson of the two, but yeah, I'm with you, Rob. For me, Kyler Murray is a kid who played in the preseason. Not that I wanted Carson to, I certainly didn't. But that team is young and they're developing and they're building, and there's not a lot of integral pieces of that team that didn't play in the preseason and that didn't practice together, for the entirety of things over there. So to me, the first 3-4 weeks of the regular season are kind of like the new preseason, and it's going to be a feel-out process for an Eagles offense that, while far more talented than most in the NFL, I think it may take them a week or two longer to get themselves going, versus a team that may be able to hit their offensive ceiling and offensive stride in week 1 in Arizona, which again is not to the level of what the Eagles will eventually be. But I would go Kyler. Also, that's a garbage defense over there in Detroit.
Here's another thing to take into consideration, though. The Eagles are a good team. They should easily beat the Redskins in week 1, so they're probably going to have the lead for most of the second half and won't be passing the ball a whole lot. Whereas the Cardinals, not a great team. There's a chance that they might need to put the ball in the air a little bit in the second half. So you don't need to have a great team to have a great fantasy player. And a lot of times, quarterbacks on bad football teams are great for fantasy because they're airing the ball out a lot in the second half.
Drew Stafford forever.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Matt Stafford.
Matt
Jesus
Stafford,
Christ.
yeah.
Sitting here just talking about a different guy.
I'd say Drew is terrible.
All right. Let's see. Do you gamble?
Occasionally. I'll lay some money on games every once in a while.
All right. So guy writes in and says, don't know if you guys gamble, but I am looking for a few of your guaranteed bets if you do. Give me a couple that you guys would be betting with, and I'll bet them as well.
Unfortunately, I didn't take a look at the lines yet for this weekend. I usually do that the day before, so I honestly couldn't give a great prediction for you. If you're asking for straight up, the easiest bet to me is actually Eagles over Redskins. But if you want to make a lot of money, put a few bucks on the Redskins and hope that they pull off a major upset there. Another good bet. Actually, no, it's a week 2 game. Never mind. I was thinking the game that I'm actually going to, the Browns and the Jets up at the Meadowlands, but that's a week 2 game.
Why are you? Oh, your buddy.
Yeah,
I forgot. Yeah. So look, I don't know if you do listen to Whiskey Rambler or not, but if you do, take a listen this week. Me and Steve will get into all of the betting lines over there.
Steve is he's the gambling aficionado of ANYP.
He is. So we will jump into some of those on Whiskey Ramble. So we're, getting listeners for the already most listened to ANY podcast over there and Whiskey Ramble for Steve. So check that one out over there. And we'll be doing that one a little closer, so the lines will be a little tighter over there. All right, hey Shane and Rob, can't get enough of this column in this show. I have a game day food advice question. These are my favorite, by the way.
Yeah, I love these.
I'm a wings guy through and through, but the early season weather is just too perfect. So I was thinking barbecue. If I'm grilling and smoking all morning, what should I do for the week one food? Week one food choice. I'm cooking for about 8 to 10 people. I already know what you're gonna say, so go ahead.
Put some wings on the grill.
Oh, wow. All right. You're going different than me.
I'm mixing it up a little bit.
I genuinely thought you were
put a little bit of everything on the grill. Put some burgers on there, put some dogs in there, put some wings on there as well. I mean, wings that are cooked at home, so much better than what you get from the store.
Yeah.
So, yeah, mix it up a little bit, put a little bit of everything, all the good stuff, all the good non-vegan bull crap. As long as it's not vegan, it's good by me. But, yeah, wings, dogs, burgers, everything. Go all out. It's week 1. You got to celebrate.
All right. For me, so I'm a big pulled pork guy. I know. So I put out a poll at one point on my personal Twitter, asking what the best sandwich was, whether it was a cheesesteak, whether it was a meatball sandwich, whether it was a buffalo chicken cheesesteak or pulled pork. I don't remember what the hell choices I put out there. But by far, pulled pork was the worst scoring choice. You're all wrong. Pulled pork is fantastic. So if you can smoke a pork shoulder out there, low all day, get that ready. You might have to honestly probably start at the night before or something. Get that smoked with I don't know. Maybe go with some apple chips or chunks. Chunks are probably better. That'll give you some nice smoky flavor to it. Like I said, all day, low. That's the go-to for me. Other than that, I would strongly recommend racks of ribs. Racks of ribs are always great. If you do that, LJ will boycott my home, and he will come visit you, and he will eat there. And then I am not a big wing guy. I will eat them every single week, and football is the only time I eat wings. But chicken legs, legs and thighs, man. If you can get those and smoke those low, put some like a mesquite barbecue rub on that. And then make your own homemade barbecue sauce, and you're in a pretty good way, and you should make those 8 to 10 people happy. So
hey, whatever you're doing, you got to add barbecue sauce. So it's not a barbecue without barbecue sauce.
Yeah, big barbecue guy over here too. Yeah, I'm with you. So that's what I would do. But keep the food questions coming, by the way, guys, because we definitely like game day food options. Also, because if you bring something quality to the table, I'm 100% hijacking that for an Eagles game at Casa de Mead. So well done on that. All right, so we have 2 more. We'll go through them quick, and then we'll jump into the Eagles-Redskins preview. All right, so I did laugh at this one. All right, I'm the world's worst girlfriend. I do everything in my power to distract my man from football each Sunday. If we're watching together, I'm whispering dirty things in his ear and shooting him seductive fuck-me-eye looks.
Sophia Ruxin.
Yeah, but she's an idiot. This one sounds smart already. This works well, and I usually do get what I want. This week, he's going out with his boys, and he's leaving me at home. My question is, what kind of teasing would you recommend to get him going to come home and rock my world? I've never been much for sexting or sending photos, but I'm thinking I have to make an exception. Help me get what I want. This is the most outlandish one that we've got so far. It's pretty ridiculous, I'll be honest. And I feel as though in the politically correct 2019, anything I say right now is going to get me like thrown in jail by the time by the time I accidentally call the cops on myself.
My God.
But we're going to fucking help you out here. First of all, this is what you really need to do. Let your guy watch football.
Yeah, absolutely.
For fuck's sake, man.
Sunday's probably his only day of the week that he looks forward to.
Sunday is the equivalent of we go to the restroom to get the fuck away from everyone in our house. That is the only peace of mind we get for 7 days a week is that 10 minutes a day in the restroom away from all of you. Yeah, Sunday is that day.
It's the weekly equivalent of the daily shit break at work.
That's exactly correct. So my first bit of advice here is, first of all, you sound like a lovely woman, and we appreciate you. And when your relationship doesn't work out, we have many members here at AMYP who would love to be distracted by you, we think. But let your guy watch football. Just at least the Eagles games. Like, shit, if you're annoyed that he's watching the Eagles game at 1 o'clock, and then 4:30 comes and he doesn't want to pay any attention to you, and you still can't get what you want throughout the evenings, I get that. That's when you can sit there and shoot those looks at him. That's when you can, if you want to sex and you want to do whatever the hell else you want to do. That's the appropriate time. But if the Eagles are playing at 1 o'clock, I would say from 12 o'clock to like 5 o'clock, because we need some time to come down from wins and losses. Maybe just shut the hell up.
Yeah, let him enjoy his game. You know, if you want, send him a picture. If the Eagles are losing, it'll help him get through the loss and kind of come down from that low of the loss after the game. And even if they're winning, he'll have a nice picture to look at, and he'll be more inclined to engage with you after the game.
Yeah,
let him enjoy the game. Send him a picture, and you know that's probably going to work out best for you.
The other bit of advice, I know for me, if my lady is into the sports that I am also into and can hold conversations and is genuinely emotionally tied to them as I am, it's going to be that much better for you. So if you really want your world rocked, become an Eagles fan, learn everything there is to learn, enjoy it. It's a wonderful sport, and that should be the best advice that we could possibly give you. You should definitely write in again, though, and let us know how that actually works out for you.
Hey, if you ever saw any of the videos of the post-Super Bowl celebrations from 2 years ago, you should have noticed one where a guy actually proposed to his girlfriend out in front of City Hall during the Eagles Super Bowl celebration. There's nothing more romantic than that. So if you get into the Eagles and you start rooting for them, you might actually have that happen to you.
Well, there you go. Rob's a romantic at heart. And our final one here, this one, and I loved this, so in the subject line, this guy goes, "Will write in weekly." So I did laugh. It seems absurd, but we're going with it anyway. Groundhog advice request. Gentlemen, lads, founding fathers of beers on property and American football, I come to you, a humble gent in need of an ale selection for my Lord's Day sporting event. I've had a week that I wish to forget. Supply me with your fiercest ale to numb the pain. Your gentlemen and your scholars, Reginald Green.
Well, can you describe the week?
He did not describe the week. He just said, I've had a week that I wish to forget.
If you want to forget it, then Everclear. That'll make you forget everything.
It's the second time you're going off with it.
It's a foolproof system. You drink Everclear, you forget the whole week. If you really want to forget every single element, every single detail of the past week, Everclear.
Oh my God.
If you want to, sweeten it up a little bit, then Jungle Juice.
Foolproof Systems by Rob, the actual alcohol consumptionist.
That would be Steve.
No, of this segment.
Of this segment.
Segment. Unless Steve is here, then yes, unfortunately,
I'm the only one on this segment who actually drinks alcohol.
That is true.
Except for when you have some in your coffee.
It's just black today. So, but there you go, Reginald Green. We next time, tell us about your week, all right? And thank you for listening to the pod. You seem like an entertaining human.
Reginald is such a proper name.
I can't imagine that's his real name, honestly. If it is, great, whatever.
Make it easier on yourself. Go by Reggie. Come on.
We'll call him Reggie. We'll call you Reg. Reg or Reggie. We'll talk about it. I'm going to respond to you an email, by the way, and we'll talk things through. We'll become your AMYP therapists. Wait, we can't call ourselves that because then the police very well may be called on me again for fake practicing therapy or something. All right, we're going to get into the actual Philadelphia Eagles talk here. So obviously we are 4 days away from the season opener here against the Washington Redskins. So we're going to go through a handful of things. First of all, let's talk about the Defensive Player of the Year early prediction list. Did you see this?
Yeah, no Fletcher Cox.
No Fletcher Cox. So in a very Flyers-like type of thing, the Eagles' best player is left off a list that, look, it's before the season that even happens, it is what it is. He doesn't necessarily stuff stat sheets. He allows for the rest of the line to do that for being double and triple teamed. But what did you kind of make of that? Do you even care? I'm not a big preseason rankings guy for much of anything, but Fletcher Cox left off that list, and he's one of the best players in the NFL.
I hope it pisses him off. I hope he's pissed off about that. I hope Carson's pissed off about his Madden ranking. I hope they're pissed off about all that stuff. Personally, I don't care about it, but I hope they care about it. I hope that, it motivates them, because a motivated Eagles team is gonna kick everyone's ass this season. So, but yeah, I'm not big into. I never really follow, the preseason predictions and the power rankings and all that kind of stuff. It's all just stuff that's put on paper that literally means nothing to me. But yeah, I hope it motivates them. I hope it pisses them off a lot.
Yeah, it's like I said, I don't really care about preseason rankings, like for anything like that. To me, every season is such a new season. The NFL and its quest for constant parity, it extends beyond just teams. It does go down to individual players. There are guys who are fantastic for 2 or 3 years and fall off the face of the earth and then come back again and have some late season resurgence or late career resurgence. So it's hard to sit there and pinpoint any of that stuff. But yeah, it is certainly frustrating. But what I would suggest for anyone who is bothered by that is to then go back for a few weeks and take a look at every other single ranking for everything in the history of everything for the Philadelphia Eagles. Our line is the best in football. Our wide receivers are top 2 or 3. Our tight ends are top 2. There's a lot to be excited about. So while on the roster as a whole, let's go down position group by position group. We'll go with just starters here. And we'll pick Eagles versus the Redskins. So we'll start out at the most important position in all of sports, the quarterback position. So this is a conversation not particularly needed to be had.
I don't think any of these are, to be honest with you.
Look, honestly, I have the Philadelphia Eagles in every single one as well.
So do I.
But we could talk through them a little bit. So we'll make it fairly quick. But quarterback position, Carson Wentz coming off of ACL in 17, broken back in 18, no preseason, not limited training camp. It was his full participation in training camp. But I don't know that he's going to come out on fire. I would like to think that he is. But then you have Case Keenum over there, superstar Case. How the hell this guy still has a job? The real reason I wanted to talk about this is the fact that the Redskins should just, holy shitballs, for breaking humans over there between RG3 and the better quarterback and one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the history of the game and Colt McCoy. Holy dick, man.
You're ridiculous.
I might be ridiculous with that comment, but
Colt McCoy is the 4th best quarterback that'll be suited up on Sunday.
Colt McCoy, I don't even think he is suiting up because he's got the fucking broken, fractured-ass ankle.
No.
He's 3rd on the depth chart right now because of his jacked up ankle that they forced him to try to come back too soon from. They had to re-break his ankle for certain. It's insane.
Jesus.
Fuck the Redskins, man.
Well, anyway, Case Keenum is going to be the 3rd best quarterback suited up on Sunday.
Yes.
Behind Wentz and McCown.
That's fair. No one should fear Case ever. He's also throwing to fucking no one anymore, so you got that going for us. So let's roll into, while on that, let's go to the receivers group before we hit the running backs. I think this one's pretty self-explanatory.
Who do the Redskins even have? They have that Paul...
They have Paul Richardson.
Yeah, Paul Richardson.
They have Kelvin Harmon. And who the hell else?
They just got rid of Dotson.
I know that. I can't remember who the fuck else.
Yeah, there it is, a bunch of no-names.
Yeah, so...
and we have arguably the best receiving core in the NFC, maybe even the whole NFL.
I would agree. So that's an easy one to sit there and take down. Running back positions for me, I'm curious about it. This one was one of the closer ones for me in general, but they have Darius Geis coming off an ACL.
He's
Peterson.
a nice player.
Darius Geis is nice, man. He was a guy who, when he continued to fall his year, and then he eventually went to the Redskins, I was not happy about it because I would have taken Geis.
Remember one of the reasons why the Eagles didn't take him, though? Apparently he came in and he blew up and he's cursing out Peterson and Howie Roseman during the team's meeting with him.
I knew something happened during their meeting where obviously that was never going to happen. He was never going to be an Eagle. But yeah, so Darius Geis, regardless of all of his bullshit, he's a nice player. Obviously unproven yet at the NFL level, but curious to see regardless. Then you have Adrian Peterson, who, for whatever reason, no matter when he plays the Eagles, he could be 500 years old. He may break off a 97-yard touchdown run again, and apparently have not a single player on our defense be able to catch up to him.
You know, last time, though, he had that 90-yard touchdown run.
And that was it.
Yeah, he finished with less than 100 yards in that game.
Are you shitting me?
Yeah. I think I'm like 90% certain that he did. I think he had like 97 or 98 yards.
Oh, that's fucking embarrassing.
I could be wrong about that.
You may be right. I don't remember them doing anything much else for the rest of the time. It's just that run still pisses me off. Seeing a bunch of youthful Eagles and youthful birds chasing down a 97-year-old man. Then you have Chris Thompson, a gadget player. And then, and only then, you have Wendell Smallwood, fourth on the depth chart, which I don't even know if he'll dress.
He was the one who was running his mouth.
So, right.
That's funny.
So they intrigue me. Like I said, Geis for me is a player who I am high on, and I hope that he comes back healthy for his own sake, but just never plays well against the Eagles. Adrian Peterson always kind of concerns me. I just feel like he's the guy that's just never going to not kill the birds. Wendell Smallwood's a joke. Chris Thompson's a nice gadget player. So there's some talent in that room, and there's some intrigue. Then you have the Eagles, who have Jordan Howard, who we didn't see very much of, and is a running back who we don't typically have in Philadelphia, or kind of running back that we don't typically have. Miles Sanders, by all the looks of it, looks like he's going to probably be the closest thing to a bell cow back that we have. He'll probably receive more carries than Howard, but he's a rookie, so we don't know. Clement looks healthy again. That's big. And then Sproles is obviously our gadget guy. I would say there's far more talent consistently across the board on ours, but ours outside of Sproles is not yet proven.
Yeah.
So, and not yet proven in an Eagles uniform, so we should say.
So basically, I give the edge to the Eagles here because of the overall talent and overall depth at the position. I think that the Redskins have more talent up top with their top two guys.
Yep.
But Miles Sanders, you don't know what you're getting with him. He could be a great running back. And we'll find out a little bit of that on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Jordan Howard, you hope that he can get back to what he was a couple of years ago out in Chicago. Even if he's not quite that, still a very solid running back. Darren Sproles, we all know what he is. He's just been Mr. Reliable when he's been healthy. That's the big question for him, is if he can stay healthy. And then, Corey Clement, great rookie season, really nice pass catching back. I hope that he can stay healthy as well. So The depth gives the Eagles a slight edge there.
I'm with you. Offensive line doesn't even need to be a question right now. The Eagles are far and away better in the offensive line. Tight end, I skipped over that, but tight end, Jordan Reed. First of all, Jordan Reed's a really good fucking tight end, both blocking and pass catching, but that guy cannot stay healthy. I don't even know if he's playing week one. He may still be concussed from his 19th concussion last year. So I don't... Do you have any concern at the tight end position?
No, we've got two of the top 5 tight ends in the NFL.
They also have the ghost of Vernon Davis out there. I think he's still a Redskin.
I think he is, yeah.
I'm just going to roll with that thought. Again, you look at Goddard, you look at Ertz, you got that. Moving over to the defensive side, they don't have a terrible defense, so, they're not the Eagles.
The only reason they give up a lot of points is because they're out there all the time.
Yeah, that is certainly true. It's still crazy sitting here looking back. This team was in first place for how much of last season?
More than half, I think.
Right? Then Alex Smith died, and then Colt McCoy died, and then it was like, well, who can we get to play the quarterback position here?
Sanchez.
So, it was Sanchez. It was,
whoever they had when they got shut out by the Eagles week 17. I think it was Sanchez that week.
I don't know.
It was Sanchez when they came here for Monday night.
Yeah.
When AP broke loose for that 90-yard run, and they didn't do anything after that.
And that was the night that Colt McCoy broke his ankle, I'm pretty sure.
You could be right, but yeah, you know what? You are right. He got injured then, and then Sanchez came in.
And then, yeah.
And I think Sanchez started the final game.
Yeah, so... But regardless, they're a fucking mess. But I would say, for time's sake, are there any groups here where you saw even a remotely close battle?
No.
Yeah.
No, I mean, maybe kicker, but I'm still a fan of Jake Elliott for his ability to hit clutch kicks when it matters in big moments. I don't even... Who is the Redskins kicker now? It seems like it changes every year.
Dustin Hopkins.
Yeah. He's a decent kicker. He's not bad.
Any concern at safety? Not concerned. That's the wrong word.
No.
But Landon Collins, really, really good player. They overpaid for him, but really good player. DeShazier Everett, fine. Monte Nicholson, whatever. I like the Eagles' depth in the secondary, and I like that we have cornerbacks that can play safety that can play cornerbacks, safety that can come up and play the nickel or that like linebacker type position. But I don't know how McLeod's going to come back from the ACL. He is going to play this week, so that's obviously good. Malcolm Jenkins, at a certain point, man, that guy's got to slow down, right? He's playing 98% of the snaps as an Eagle.
Yeah, but he's ridiculous, though.
He's insane.
Yeah, he's
Absolutely
still
insane.
He's still an excellent safety, a top-tier guy, and he's the centerpiece of the defense, really. He's a center fielder. He's the captain of the defense. He does a lot of things. He doesn't do anything poorly.
Yeah.
Everything he does at least adequately. A lot of things he does very well. And Rodney McLeod, if he's healthy, a very good safety. I'd say maybe not quite top tier, but towards the top of maybe the second tier safeties in the NFL. So I think they're good there.
All right. So let's talk about some of the injured birds real quick. So we got good news from Doug, or at least good news trending from Doug, that Fletcher Cox is going to play, Nigel Bradham is going to play, Rodney McLeod going to play, Barnett going to play and begun practicing again with his shoulder, and whatever the hell else was going on with him. Who else am I leaving off of that? I know there's somebody else I'm leaving off. Oh, Brandon Brooks, sorry. The fucking key one that I wanted to talk about. But that's 5 key Eagles who are or have been injured coming into the season. Brandon Brooks, for me, I don't know how you can be a 325-pound offensive lineman and come back in 9 months from a fucking Achilles tear. And he's doing it.
It's crazy, man.
Do you have any concerns with him there?
Personally, no. But if there's a week to rest him and not play him and give him an extra week to get ready, I would actually sit him this week. I mean, the Eagles, they have a good offensive line around them. They have some depth there. Obviously, you want to do what you can and put your best guys out there to keep Carson safe and keep him protected. Yeah. That's the only concern that I have. But with that being said, like I said, if there's a week where you can give him some extra rest, it's right now.
Yeah, I mean, so much of our defense, wow, voice cracking, and I'm nearly 30 years old. So much of our defense, and then, again, obviously some pieces of the offense with Brooks, with Deshaun Jackson's finger, Carson coming back from the knee and back. There's some uncertainty there as to how these guys are going to come back. We saw it last year. So many of the guys who had off-season surgery or work done came into last season. They were super slow getting out of the gate. They didn't have their stuff yet. Brandon Brooks said that he didn't feel right until late in the season, week 16 or 17. He was saying, not Brandon Brooks, Brandon Graham.
Carson was pretty sluggish at times last year.
Carson was playing with a knee brace and getting used to it, which he's bagged this year. So hopefully that's a good sign for him mentally, that he's able to sit there and trust in that knee, trust in his back, trust in his body as a whole. While on Carson, I can't remember if we talked about this last week or not, but he's been very public so far, stating that he is going to protect his body more and take that extra layer of precaution, and saying that why run if I don't have to, why take hits if I don't have to, and he's been running out of bounds or sliding or whatever it may be in practice. Now, again, it's practice, and you can't get hit in practice. And we know that the game is different. It's faster. Do you trust him to protect his body a little bit more, and do you even want him to?
I do like hearing that from him, and yes, I do, because he's proven to be somewhat fragile when he does get hit, and we want him to be here for a long time. We want him to be here for another decade plus. So, obviously, the mobility and being a scrambling or having the ability to scramble as a quarterback is obviously it's a key part of his game. It's what makes him so effective. I don't want him to lose that, but maybe be a little bit quicker to slide as opposed to taking a hit.
Yeah.
Maybe be a little bit quicker to get out of bounds as opposed to lowering the shoulder and trying to run through a defender. That kind of stuff, I do want him to take better care of his body, but at the same time, I don't want him to lose that ability to move out of the pocket and pick up yards if he needs to.
Yeah, I agree. It's all about being a smart quarterback and smart with your body and prolonging, your ability to stay on the football field, not just for the current season, but for your career. So let's move into a very quick game of rapid fire concerned or not concerned. So this is where I sit here and ask Rob about the upcoming week and upcoming battles that we have for the Philadelphia Eagles. I will ask you, we have 6 this week, so I'll ask you 6 things. You can give me quick 30 seconds as to why you are or are not concerned.
Let's do it.
All right, let's get it going. Offensive line has not played together at all. Early season chemistry concerns. Do you have any issues there?
No. It might take them a few series to get into the rhythm of things. They might, have a couple 3 and outs to start off, but no. I think that they're going to get it together at the very latest, probably by the second quarter, second half. They'll be looking good.
All right. Sticking with the offensive line, this is for beyond just this week, but interior offensive line depth, mainly at center after the cut of Wisniewski. Do you have any concerns with the interior line there, Vitae switching into the interior line as a rotational player, and then obviously that Herbig, or whatever the hell his name is, backing up Kelsey?
Right off the bat, I do have a little bit of concern about that because, some guys are in situations, in positions where they haven't really had that much experience so far. So it might take a few weeks to get that ironed out. It might take, 1 or 2 weeks. Obviously, like I said before, the issue is keeping Carson on his feet, and that's why that concerns me a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be a huge issue.
Sticking on your Carson and his protection, and we talked about this just a few moments ago, but Carson Wentz obviously noting again that he is looking actively to protect his body and to stay on the football field. We've seen other quarterbacks dramatically adjust who and what they are on the football field, and they became maybe less of what they could have been. Sticking with the Eagles family, let's go with Donovan McNabb. Donovan McNabb, when he first started his career, he was borderline reckless in terms of how he handled himself, running the football, taking hits, things of the sort. And it was almost like an automatic switch where he was like, nope, we're done with this now. And I don't think he ever reached the potential that he could have been in terms of his overall quarterback play, taking away that aspect of his game. Do you have any concerns that Carson may be too careful?
No. I mean, I don't want him to be too careful, but even if he goes that route, he's got the physical talent to be as good as anyone at the quarterback position. He's got a great arm. I think that once he learns how to not lock onto receivers like he does sometimes, he'll be able to avoid interceptions at high rates like he's been known to do from time to time. Once he gets that out of the system, I think he's as good just simply being a pocket passer as anybody in the NFL.
Okay. Case Keenum, LOL. That's literally my note here. Any concerns with Case Keenum coming into Philadelphia?
No. Last time he played here, he threw a touchdown to open up the game. Then he gave the Eagles a touchdown, and they didn't score after that.
Very much so. And I literally just wanted to hear that story one more time, which is the only reason I put it in there.
I actually watched the replay of the Patrick Robinson pick six about 3 times in the past week.
Yeah, that's quality. All right, we talked about this a little bit earlier as well, but Darius Geis making his comeback after the torn ACL. Any concerns that we may see the player that we both have, high favors in?
Not this week. I think the Eagles' defense is going to stack up. The Redskins don't have any sort of passing game, so the Eagles are going to be able to stack up against the run. I think they'll do a good job of slowing him down.
All right, and then the final one here, and this one is one that you kind of alluded to earlier, but do you have any concerns that Jake Elliott may find his job in jeopardy after this week?
No.
So
I think that the Eagles can look past maybe the occasional missed extra point in a blowout win or missed chip shot field goal in a blowout win because, like I said, I think that they like what he can do when the game matters or when the moments matter. He makes the big kicks at the end of games. He's done that a few times against the Giants, against the Texans last year in the Super Bowl. As long as with a kicker, you want to look for someone who comes through when it matters. And so far, Jake Elliott has done that in his career.
All right. Let's move into a prediction here. So also bear with us. This is our first Backyard Beers and Football where we are combining both our normal segment type of things that you guys know and love and also putting in here some evaluation stuff that we can do. So we're going to be probably changing up how this is done every single week until we find something that we enjoy. But one thing that will be a mainstay as part of this particular part is we will always give you our score prediction and maybe some standout stars. You're right. Maybe the coffee isn't just black. Standout stars with offense and defense for the Philadelphia Eagles. So, Rob, what is your score prediction for Week 1?
I'm going the Eagles 34-17.
You think they're scoring 34 points?
I think they're scoring 34 points.
That's sick.
I think that they're going to be held down a little bit, maybe 10 or 14 in the first half, and then they'll go off and score 20-ish in the second half.
Nice. I hope to God it is. I would love an offensive explosion to start the season. That would really be rewarding for me. I have them winning. I have the Eagles winning 24-13. I think the offense will be a little bit sluggish, but I do think the defense, despite missing all of its key players and everyone being hurt to some capacity at this point, or returning from injury, I do think that they're going to shut down the Redskins' offense in Case Keenum, which is hilarious to me that he is starting at quarterback. But 24-13, Eagles win Week 1. Your standout offensive player.
Standout offensive player. I'm going to go with Deshaun Jackson against his other former team, or one of his other former teams. I think that I would not be totally surprised if the Eagles open the game much the same way they did that Monday Night Massacre back in 2010. You know, first offensive play of the game, a bomb to Deshaun Jackson would be pretty awesome to see. But either way, I think that he's going to be the standout star of the game for the offensive side of the ball. Everyone's
been calling for that play. I hope they do like a fucking screen pass to the opposite side of the field and lay a Riley Cooper down somewhere.
Oh, man.
My offensive standout, and I'm going with someone who no one else will, is Jordan Howard. I think that he's been quiet, obviously, in this offseason. He's been a little overshadowed. And a little underrated with the quick rise in, I would say, the perception as to who and what Miles Sanders is or could be. But I think that Jordan Howard is, I don't think his role is going to be huge in the first 3 quarters, but I think in the fourth quarter when it matters and we need to run these clocks down and pick up chunks of yardage, pick up first downs, and maybe even get a put-away score, I think Jordan Howard's your guy. So for me, Jordan Howard is the offensive standout player, said it right that time, and the defensive standout star for you.
I'm going to go with Avonte Maddox.
Yeah, man, me too.
I think that
he's had Patrick Robinson moment.
I think he does.
That's why I picked him too.
I think he does. Yeah, I think he does at least pick off Keenum once. He did a lot of really nice things for the Eagles last year. Kind of flew under the radar, though. I think that this is the season that he breaks out and everybody knows his name by the end of the year.
I hope so, man. He is good. Like, he is, and he's so versatile. So I had him for the same reasons that you did. So we both have our Philadelphia Eagles winning this week. Rob with a significantly higher score and output from the offense than I do. But regardless, we believe in the Philadelphia Eagles here at Backyard Beers and Football. This is coming to the conclusion of this, and that means your other favorite part. We get to hear about Rob's week and why his drink selection is what it is. So Backyard Beers and Football gives you the Rate the Drink bit of our show. Rob, what kind of week did you have, sir?
I had a pretty solid week.
You had a pretty solid week.
I had a very solid week, actually.
We're going to get the classiness of like a fucking Chardonnay or something right now. Keep going.
I wouldn't go Chardonnay. I'd probably just go Miller Lite, honestly. It's a nice, relaxing light beer for an easy week.
Okay. So, good part of the week. What was a decent part of the week?
I'd say probably going out on Saturday night, and one thing led to another. Ended up meeting this girl, got her number. Still going on right now.
Well done. Slapping hands in studio right now.
Shout out to my buddy Kev and his inadvertent wingman actions of getting kicked out of one bar and setting off a chain of events that led to going to another bar where I met this girl.
Well done to your buddy. Is this the Kevin that I met?
Yes.
That is not fucking shocking at all. Good Lord.
You can only imagine the reason why he got kicked out of the bar.
I can only fucking imagine. But hey, good work by you, Wingman Kev, which is now your official title here on Backyard Beers and Football. Wingman Kev, the guy who gets Rob laid. Or at least conversationally laid, if that's a real thing. So Rob's a Miller Lite this week. Not the sexiest of choices. But given the fact that you had an easy week and a borderline celebratory week as you were sitting here and having female interaction, good for you. We're going to give this one, I'm going to go 4-9 this week.
4-9.
4-9.
It's like half of what I got last week.
So, last week was hilarious, and last week was a take-back moment. So, you took the drink back from Steve last week.
Yeah.
And I apprecited that.
Well, I don't have the advantage of knowing what Steve's drink is this week.
Well, Steve's drink every single week
is whiskey.
Whiskey. So, and that's what I mean. So, Steve had, no creativity in his week on that show. Because he originally had said just whiskey. And I'm like, well, that's a 2.1. That's your drink every night. But yeah, so Rob, quality week, easy week, nothing too crazy. We expect that these drinks will get a little bit crazier now that Philadelphia Eagles season is underway in 4 days. Check back in with us here at Backyard Beers and Football. We will have a recap show at some point next week, and then your standard Backyard Beers and Football segment as well. For Rob, I am Shane. Be sure to go to Just Food for all of your food needs for this NFL season. It's 215-794-FOOD, 215-794-3663. Treat yourself. Take it home. Visit our guy over there, Asian Rob. He'll prepare you your game day food selections. Be as classy as you like. Be as backyardy and beery as you'd like. For Rob and Shane, again, always next year podcast, Backyard Beers and Football. See you next week.
A fighting man I used to be, revered and feared through Killarney. Now I'm back, hitching with the wind. But if Mickey Flynn should ever find me, I'll throw me caution all behind me and square off on that son of a bitch again. He cracked open a river too, he beat me Sunday through and through, and so jiggle over my unconscious frame. I won me healthy sheriff fights, well lucky son, still have me life since Mickey Flynn beat me dumb and lame.